I was hoping would be a real opportunity to send important messages. But now, it's going to be very hard to talk about women's issues without people thinking and reflecting on what just happened with Todd Akin.
Welcome to News Beast. I'm Tony Dokoupil here with Tina Brown and Mark McKinnon. We're talking about what else? The fallout from Todd Akin's disastrous parsing of legitimate rape. He's on an apology tour this morning. Maybe he's going to stay in the race. Maybe he'll drop out. He's got some wiggle room, but it could be too late already. You've got a piece up now suggesting that Romney just lost this election, essentially.
Well, it couldn't have been worse timing. I mean, this was the time when, leading up to the convention, when Romney, Ryan, and the Republicans had really hoped that the focus would be on the big tent, on a message of tolerance, inclusion, and so now suddenly we've shifted back to these social issues, which Republicans really don't need to be talking about. They need to be keeping focus on economic issues. And now it's bringing attention to the platform, which usually nobody ever pays attention to, and it's bringing attention to Ryan's record on these issues when Ryan was supposed to be the budget guy, and now sort of Ryan and his record on women's issues and abortion.
You say
well, I mean, look, it's so obvious why Ryan was the guy who gets on the phone to Akin and says, you know, you need to drop out, because Ryan's thinking, hey, wait a minute, all of this stuff is going to blow back on me now, and I stop being this clean-cut young family guy who, you know, is the budget guy, as you say, and suddenly becomes kind of tarred with all these really
gets him more ideological.
Bad social issues. And I mean, you know, what are they going to do about their women problem, Mark? I mean, you know,
can they win without it? Without the women vote?
Listen, I think that they've got to expand their votes among important demographic groups, and that's the most important for sure. And with Hispanics too. And so the convention, I was hoping, would be a real opportunity to send important messages. But now, it's going to be very hard to talk about women's issues without people thinking and reflecting on what just happened with Todd Akin.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, they've got to win women, blacks, and Hispanics. That's a huge amount of people that they've now got to catch up on.
Well, the Hispanics is an interesting issue. I remember very clearly in the George W. Bush campaign, and his position on immigration, by the way, was one of the things that attracted me initially to him, that Republicans hadn't really been talking about before, a proactive, immigrant-friendly policy. And so, but we knew in the 2000 election that we had to get 41% of the Hispanic vote to win. And then when we got that, it was interesting because our pollster came in about a week later and said, you know what, if we just maintain that 41% in 2004, we'll lose. Because that demographic's growing so. And Romney, last time I saw, had about 35% of that vote. And I don't think he can win unless he gets it up to 40 or above.
Let's take a question from Facebook here. I think this is a good one. Amy Summerlin asked why the GOP is incorporating such extreme right ideas into its platform on a national stage.
Traditionally, the platforms reflect the really sort of grassroots, intense factions of the party. I mean, it's really kind of a faction-based. I think that you can say that's true on the Democratic side too. It's kind of the ideologues that build the platform, and then, but ultimately, it's generally the nominees' positions that are important, but as I said, in this case, even though Romney and Ryan have disavowed Akin and said that they support exceptions that's contrary to the platform, it is shining a light on where the Republican Party stands at a time when the party really needs to be broadening the tent, not closing it.
You know, what I saw is, I mean, I was fascinated to look at the Romney transition team, where it seems that, you know, there's only one woman on that transition team, and that's Beth Myers, right? It's all men. Who are they incorporating into this team? I mean, you know, Bush had, for instance, Karen Hughes, who was a very, very smart sort of EQ, you know, person who could really tell him how to broaden out, how to be more emotionally connected. Who's going to tell these guys how to get beyond their little narrow white guy box?
Yeah, well, they've got Beth Myers, Katie Gage, and they do have, you know, women in important positions in the campaign. So, but they need to have a lot of faces out there. I noticed that the Democratic National Convention just cleverly rolled out, you know, a list of about 20 prominent women speakers today, and I'm sure that was not.
Do you think it was a mistake not to have Condi Rice? Because I mean, here's Condi Rice, who she may not have delivered a state, but she is, you know, dignified, smart. She doesn't put a foot wrong. She's an African American woman.
I think she would have been great to be VP.
So do I.
I think
she'd have been amazing.
The most important woman in the Republican Party right now is an African American, and somebody who has, you know, incredible credentials.
Absolutely, and she's just so good on her feet. She's not going to misstep in any way. She's had 8 years of practice.
Yeah, she's a total pro.
Yeah.
So they don't have enough women. They're not picking the right speakers. But Romney's going to have a platform, obviously. What can he say at the convention to pull this back on track?
Well, I think the good the good side of this is, the good news is that a lot of people, I think, don't have firm impressions of Romney. I mean, too many have bad ones, and you've got to fix that. But there's a lot of people out there say, you know, I really don't know who this guy is. And people know who Obama is. I mean, it's like, you know, they have a pretty fixed opinion. So there's not a lot of upside potential for Obama to change that equation. But Romney can, and his chance to do it is the convention, because there's really 3 times during a presidential campaign where you have an opportunity to move the numbers on your own, and that's your announcement, the convention, and the speech, and then the debate. So this is, everybody's going to be watching, and so I think it's the time where he needs, I think, been so focused on sort of this jobs economic message that to the point where people don't really have a sense of who he really is, what he believes in, his family, his biography. You know, they need some contextual information about him, about why he believes what he does and kind of where he came from.
Well, it'd be fascinating.
Talk about his religion, his family.
Yeah, well, perhaps he can do it. I mean, he's just not been able to. And actually, by the way, Paul Ryan doesn't much like talking about that really personal stuff either. Yeah, well, you know, the one thing is, though, is that it's pretty hard to give a bad convention speech. You know, I mean, I mean, you're up there, you got a teleprompter, people have been working on it for months, so it's really hard to do a bad one. But on the other hand, it's hard to do a really, really great one.
Well, it'd be fascinating to see how it all plays out. We're out of time here, but we have a tradition. Final word, we'll go to Tina first. Some word that sums up the day.
Women crisis.
Hyphenated.
The Republican Party is Akin.
Also hyphenated. Tampa. That's all the time we have. Until next time, thank you very much.